Hello and welcome back for another Torah Tuesday. We are working our way through Exodus chapter 4, which is where Yahweh commissions Moses to go to Egypt and set the people free from oppression under Pharaoh's regime. And last week we saw the first sign that God gives to Moses, where he throws his staff and it becomes a snake. And it's a sign of Moses' royal authority delegated by God to undermine Pharaoh's royal authority. God follows this with a second sign, and this one emphasizes Moses' priestly authority. So God tells Moses to put his hand, again, we have a hand that figures into the story. Moses' hand threw down and then seized the snake in the last sign. This time his hand, he is supposed to put his hand in his bosom, which would be the fold of his garment above his waist. He puts his hand in his bosom. When he takes it out, it's diseased with some kind of a skin disease. Sometimes it's thought of as leprosy, but leprosy did not arise until later in history. This is some kind of a psoriasis or some kind of skin disease that's either white or flaky in appearance, something like snow, either in color or texture. In Leviticus chapter 13, we find out that the priests are responsible for declaring someone clean or unclean because of this particular skin disease or this family of skin diseases. So this is a priestly concern. The health of the skin is of priestly concern. This sign points forward in two different ways. I'd never really thought about this before working on my commentary, but here in verse 8, God says if they don't believe the first sign, then you can give them this later sign. And the phrase later sign in Hebrew is ha'ot ha'acharon. Ha'ot ha'acharon. The word later is acharon. So when Moses gives his next objection in next week's video, God is going to provide Aharon, Aaron, as the provision for what Moses needs. So this is an Acharon, and later he will get Aharon. I just think it's fun that the sign that relates to priestly authority sounds like the name of the first priest, and he's in the very next part of this conversation. So kind of an interesting wordplay. The second way that this sign points forward is that it anticipates the rebellion of Aharon, Aaron, and his sister Miriam in Numbers chapter 12. In Numbers 12, they rebel against Moses, and Miriam contracts a skin disease, this very same skin disease that's described as afflicting Moses' hand in this sign will afflict Miriam. And Aaron will have to depend upon Moses to resolve the situation, which shows that Moses is superior and has superior authority to Miriam and Aaron. So why is this skin disease happening in Numbers chapter 12? And that shows Aaron's inability to deal with it. It happens because they question Moses' authority. So here the sign is being given to demonstrate Moses' authority that will later come into question and be put to rest. So this sign of Moses' hand becoming diseased, and then when he puts it back in his bosom and takes it out, it's clean, it's healed, points to God's power to heal, which is the basis for priestly authority to declare someone clean. And it's that authority is mediated through Moses, who is the one who will eventually ordain priests for ministry. So finally, right after this little sign with Moses' hand, Yahweh announces a bonus sign. If nobody believes this, then Moses can take water from the Nile and pour it on dry ground, and that water will become blood. And that kicks off a whole string of signs by which Yahweh will demonstrate his power to those in Egypt so that they will know the power of Yahweh. Ironically, Egyptians saw the Nile River as the lifeblood of Egypt. So God is taking what they consider to be the lifeblood and he's turning it to blood, which foreshadows the death of the Egyptian army in the water of the Sea of Reeds because they refused to recognize Yahweh's claim on the Hebrew people. So Moses was to pour this water on dry ground, on Yabashah, Yabashah is a rare Hebrew word. It's used in two other places. In Genesis 1, verses 9 and 10, it's used to describe the dry ground that's created as God separating and bringing order to creation. He separates the water from the dry ground. And it's used later in chapter 14 to describe the dry ground that the Israelites will pass through the sea on this path of dry ground. So in the Exodus event, God is working to bring about new creation, to bring order to chaos by taking his people out from under Egyptian oppression and into freedom so that they can worship him unafraid. That worship is mediated by the priests. And again, Moses is from the family of Levi, the priestly family. And so this sign seems to be tying all these things together and pointing forward to what God will still do. I hope this has been fun. I love interacting with you. Thank you for commenting and for getting in touch with me. Please continue to spread the word and to make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss any of these videos. Have a great week.